Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about our Phase 5 BIS list, which gear we want to go for, save our DKP, save our clout with the loot council for, which pieces are the biggest upgrades for us, and which ones can we maybe lower our priority. Today we'll not only be looking at the most recent updated BIS list guide recently published by Fight Club for Phase 5, we'll also be simming some of the gear to figure out how big of an upgrade is it really, and we'll also be talking about which are the best pieces for us in this coming phase. Before we get started, everyone, if you don't mind, please, if you enjoy my channel, please drop a like and subscribe. That would really help me know that you guys are enjoying the content. Checking the analytics, almost 95% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you like Classic WoW and you're like Warrior content and you want to learn more, go ahead and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. That said, let's get into the video. So, firstly, we're going to go piece by piece on the BIS list guide, and we're going to show why the item's BIS, and then go over the stats, and then if it looks close, we're going to sim it to figure out what exactly is better. So why do we use the Fight Club BIS list? What's so important about that? The Fight Club BIS list is so important is because the Fight Club Discord is where the majority of Classic Warrior theory crafting goes on. And when they publish a BIS list, you can know that it's not just one person on Classic Wowhead, one person on Icy Veins just saying these are good pieces. All of this gear and this list is determined by lots of people simming lots of different gear combinations and being cognizant of what are the BIS pieces for other classes as well. So this list is going to be the best guidepost that you can use to look and orient yourself as to which gear you want to get. So that's why we use Fight Club, and that's why everyone should use Fight Club. The list will be linked below. There's also a tank list as well. I won't be going over that today. It is there. So link below. Go ahead and check that out. All right, so let's start the Phase 5 BIS list, shall we? Start with the helm slot. We're going to go slot by slot. In the helm slot, we've got Lionheart helm still on top. I think it's easy to see why this piece is so big. 18th strike, 2 crit, and 2 hit, and it's a piece you craft yourself. Everyone should know about this already. If you don't have this item, you should start grinding the mats for it. They're only going to get more expensive as time goes on. This is an item. I love these BOE items because you can craft them yourself. You don't need to rely on a drop. You don't need to rely on loot priority. They're there for you to craft, and it's something you can work on between raids. So I highly recommend getting the Lionheart helm. Is BIS until the end of the game. The Conquerors Crown is a new addition to this list. And if you take a look at the Conquerors Crown, you see we're getting 29 strength, 18 agility, 34 stamina, and 6 defense, so not a bad helm by any means. Probably going to go more towards tanks than DPS, but if you don't have Lionheart helm for any reason, and this comes off, and this is going to get DE'd or whatever, then this is a good choice to pick up. Will make you really chunky. But Lionheart helm BIS still for DPS. One thing, guys, getting items in a queue is a little bit different. Some of them you need specific pieces off of bosses. You're going to need emblems. It's kind of like tokens that you return for the gear, but you're also going to need other stuff as well as rep requirements. It's not really complicated, but if I try to explain it all in the context of this video, this is going to be a 2-hour long video. So I'll be making a separate video on how rep and item turn-ins work to get these items, but today we're just going to talk about the items, guys, not necessarily how you get them. Moving on to the next, we've got Barb Choker coming in as our new BIS piece. Let's take a look at the Barb Choker. 10 stamina, 1 crit, 44 attack power. A lot of attack power coming off there. I mean, if we add the crit into that, that's almost 80 AP. So really big neck. This drops off of Conquerors the Unyielding. If we compare it to Ani Tooth, which I would imagine most of us have by now, 12 agility, 1% crit, 1% hit. My guesstimate is that these items are going to be very close to each other if you put them right up next to each other. Let's go ahead and check that out. So I'm simming right now at a baseline with world buffs at 1281 DPS. If I go into my neck and I change Ani Tooth to Barb Choker and go ahead and sim that, I'm going to see maybe a 1 to 2% increase. I think this is an item that personally is going to be lower on my loot priority relative to a lot of this other gear. So just be cognizant of that. If you're spending DKP, don't sim this stuff yourself. Don't get bright-eyed and freak out just because it's fresh content and you start spending your DKP everywhere. Sim this stuff for yourselves first. Moving on to the shoulders. So we've got the Conquerors Folders coming in at a new BIS. What are the Conquerors Folders? These are some of the coolest looking shoulders in the game, in my opinion. Really love the look of these things. I actually grinded this out on retail back in the day. to be able to transmog my warrior. Looking, we've got 20 strength, 16 agility, and 21 stamina, +4 defense, 1% chance to hit. So not only are these going to make you a little bit more chunkier, a little bit more tankier, they're going to increase your crit cap with that hit, and also just give lots of good stats. So those world buffs, those kings buffs on Alliance, going to really benefit you with this piece. Next, we've got the Mantle of Wicked Revenge. Mantle of Wicked Revenge is a leather piece, drops off Thankress. And, you know, guys, I think that you should be prioritizing the Conquerors Folders. This, I would imagine, will be prio to Feral, Druids, and Rogues. And if you're lucky, you can pick this up. If you're not seeing Conquerors drop, just a very, very big difference in armor. I think that what AQ is enabling us as Fury Warriors to do is wear more plate pieces for DPS. We don't need to wear mail. We don't need to wear leather. There's lots of chunky plate pieces that also have great DPS stats that are going to be key to helping us survive miscellaneous things. Something goes wrong in the raid. We don't want to die with this world buff meta, so anything that is chunkier, has more stamina, has more armor, can actually be more beneficial than an item that doesn't but looks better on paper because of raw DPS. So Mantle of Wicked Revenge, it's there if you can get it, but would definitely prioritize Conquerors Folders as well. So moving on to the cloaks. The Drape of Unyielding Strength is our new BIS cloak. This is actually a drop from AQ 20. Taking a look at it, we've got 15 strength, 9 agility, 9 stamina, 1% hit. Looks sort of like the Baron cloak here. So I think I like the look of the Baron cloak. I think it looks better than Draconic Might cloak, but that's just me. This is another one, guys, that if we look at, you know, if we go ahead and go to the sim here, let me change my neck back to Ani Tooth, and we go to cloak, and we go to the cloak. So if I go there and I switch to Drake of Unyielding Strength, we're going to see that once again, minor DPS upgrade, 3 or 4 DPS. I personally will go for this item because anything over 2 DPS I think is worth getting, and I think it looks cooler, so I'll be able to enable my cloak again. So yeah, so that's the cloak. But once again, what we see is it's not the most massive upgrade in the world. However, it does drop from AQ 20, so that's going to be a little bit more digestible, probably easier to get for most people. New cloak on in the mix, the Cloak of Concentrated Hatred. This is coming secondary on our tier gear. And 11 strength, 16 agility, 15 stamina, 1% hit. Drops off the Prophet Scarum at around a 7% drop rate. So how often we'll see this cloak remains to be seen. But like the last cloak, if we look at whether or not that's a massive DPS upgrade for us, it's pretty much on par with Unyielding Strength. For me, it actually sims a little bit higher. So 2 decent cloaks. This one looks a little cooler. So if you like the looks, you know, you can kind of be a fashionista with the cloaks, as they're all pretty much very similar. But however, Drape of Unyielding Strength does come on top. Moving down to the chest piece. This is where we start to get some of those big D items, guys. Breastplate of Annihilation is really big piece here. Matches the other set armor really cool, especially if you've got the Conqueror shoulders on there. And let's look at the raw stats. That's 37 strength, 1% crit, 1% hit, and the 13 stamina. That is just a lot of raw stats, guys. And this is going to drop off the Prophet Scarum, so I believe he's the first boss, and we're going to see a 7% drop chance on him as well. So maybe we'll see a lot of these, maybe we won't. I think it remains to be seen. If we go into our chest here, and I'm running Savage Gladiator chain, and if we change it to the Breastplate of Annihilation, that's actually going to be almost a 20 DPS upgrade. So guys, this is a big upgrade right here. You're changing, if you have Savage, you're going to be changing from a very, male armor to lots of strength, lots of stamina. You are going to lose a crit, but you're going to gain some hit. I think it's worth it. This is an item that you should be prioritizing. Conquerors Breastplate as well is coming now secondary. This is, probably going to be proud to your tanks comparatively to, Annihilation Breastplate. We're seeing more armor, a lot more stamina, and it's still a good amount of strength and agility. Let's see how it sims compared to Breastplate of Annihilation. So it's worse than Breastplate of Annihilation by around 7 DPS, but it's not, terrible. So either of these you can get your hands on. Obviously, you want to prioritize Breastplate of Annihilation, but if for some reason you can't get that, but you can get a Conqueror's Breastplate, go for it. And then we have the Vest of Swift Execution coming in third. Once again, a leather piece, guys. Dropped by Lord Kree, 21 strength, 41 agility, 20 stamina. It's all right. but you'd be crazy to go for this over any of the other two when you can wear plate. So good to have if you can get it. If it's going to get DE, it's going to be an upgrade over Savage, allegedly, and you can go for that, but let's not get too excited about it. So moving on to the wrist. Hive Defiler wrist guards at the #1 spot now, and these have pretty good stats on them. 23 strength, 18 agility, no stamina, definitely a glass cannon piece, drops off Huhuron. Looking at, if we go to, I'm going to set myself back to my baseline with Savage. If we go to, I'm running wrist guards of stability. If I upgrade to Hive Defiler, wrist guards, actually like a 10 DPS upgrade, 11 DPS upgrade. I sim at 1280 with my baseline gear now. So not bad, guys. Definitely something worth considering. Just really good stats on there. So worth to prioritize there. Next, we have the Karaji Executioner Bracers. These are leather, 15 strength, 16 agility, 14 stamina. Improves your chance to hit by 1. They look kind of dope. And this is really good item. I think it's probably it's worse than Hive Defiler, but still a great alternative, especially with the hit. But you are going from plate to leather. However, you are getting some stamina on these pieces. Let's look at the sim. Look at Karaji Executioner Bracers. Yeah, about 2 to 4 DPS worse, but still a big upgrade. So no one wants these. You obviously want to go for Hive Defiler, but if no one wants Karaji for any reason, then go for it. Bracers of Brutality from AQ20. I mean, it's an alright piece. 21 strength, 12 stamina, 9 stamina. Still an upgrade from wrist guards of stability. This is a nice screenshot here for the for the look. But yeah, it drops off, I believe, the last boss of AQ20, and alright piece, but not as good as the other two. Deep Rock Bracers, I don't even know what these are. What are these? Where do these come from? Oh, they come from a quest in Sithilus. So you can actually probably upgrade your stability. Let's see if you can go right to. All right, so these are going to be like a 1 to 2% a 1 to 2 DPS upgrade from your stability. So whether or not you want to do that is up to you. Probably not really worth it, but if you min max, you'll probably do it. Because you can probably go in and get these Deep Rock Bracers as soon as the content's out. So just going back to my baseline here, let's go back to the list. So let's move on to the Gauntlets. Now, Gauntlets, like the chest piece, this is probably one of the most important items you can look for in the game right now. Gauntlets of Annihilation are dope looking. They match the rest of the Conquerors set. And just look at the stats on these babies. 35 strength, 15 stamina. 1% hit, 1% crit. I mean, just massive gauntlets, guys. Drops off Cthulhu as well. So this is going to be the best piece that drops off Cthulhu for you as a Fury Warrior. Looking at how they sim comparatively to Flame Guard. So I'm running Flame Guard right now. Everything else the same. If I equip Gauntlets of Annihilation, almost a 26 DPS upgrade. That's really big, guys. That's like going from Viscag to CTS. Big upgrade here. Scales really well with buffs. You're going to want to put these as, if not the most item you want to go for, very, very close to the top of your priority. Next, we've got the gloves of enforcement. These are leather again, from Battle Guard Satura. 28 strength, 20 agility, 6 stamina. Pretty good. 1% hit, not bad. If you're crit cap, that's definitely something you can look for. However, simming yourself, still really good compared to Flame Guard. I mean, we sim Flame Guard with my gear. I'm sitting at, that's almost a 20% upgrade, or 20 DPS upgrade. So for some reason, I don't know the Rogue Bissless for AQ, guys. So like, these might be their BIS gloves. You might not, and they might be Farrell's BIS gloves too. So you might never have a shot at these. However, that might change for your guild. These are worth picking up as you wait for Annihilation, if you can, without really hindering yourself. One notable thing that has changed is that Sacrificial Gauntlets are actually simming better than Flame Guard Gauntlets with world buffs. And so you're going to want to pick up a pair from ZG. Also, new enchant, guys, 15 agility when Phase 5 comes out. So keep that in mind. Moving to the belt, Onslaught Girdle, still a beast. That's not going to change anytime soon. I'm pretty sure that's BIS until the end of the game. Triad Girdle is a new piece coming in at from AQ 20, I believe. No, AQ 40. And just looking on stats here, 26 strength, 19 agility, 17 stam. Really good. However, just comparatively to Onslaught Girdle, let's be real, 31 strength, 11 stamina, 1 crit, 1 hit. That's just unbeatable right now. So nothing even comes close. Osiren's Binding is another new piece, new addition to the list. Some intellect there, 20 agility, 19 stamina, 1% crit, 1% hit, kind of like a scuffed Onslaught. And then you've got your ZG belt as well. So, you know, guys, really this is a reason why you should still be running Molten Core. Onslaught Girdle is much better than these other pieces by a good amount. So still going to want to prioritize that. Moving into the legs, guys, Conquerors leg guards. These are thick boy legs. 33 strength, 21 agility, 24 stamina, 6% defense, and 1% hit. Now, that's pretty awesome. On the surface, you see these and you think tank, but they're actually BIS warrior DPS, and they definitely, you're really going to want to prioritize these. However, there is another piece that you can build yourself that sims pretty much on par, but you're just making yourself more into a glass cannon. These are the Titanic leggings. 30 strength, 2% hit, 1% crit. These are BOEs. You can make these yourself. They require a good bit of mats. That's 12 Arcanite bars, 20 enchanted thorium, 10 Essence of Earth, and if that wasn't worse enough, 2 Flask of the Titans. So very expensive legs, probably around 2K all in there, maybe a little bit more as time goes up. So, you know, it's kind of a grind. However, you can start putting together the mats for this now. I already have. But you know, this is going to be a day one piece when as soon as someone gets the recipe, I'm not really sure how the recipe works, but as soon as someone gets it, I don't know if that just unlocks with phase 5 or it's a world drop. However, once you can get these crafted, I would recommend doing it because it's going to allow you, if we go back to this list, you know, Titanics versus Conquerors is a very close sim, guys. So if you get to, Conquerors are technically better than Titanics. I mean, because if we go to the Conquerors leg plates, they're just giving you more. You're getting a little bit more strength and you're getting more defensive stats as well, as opposed to you're just getting raw offensive stats here on Titanic. So, you know, this is going to allow you to be more chunky. It's going to allow you to just survive more encounters. So, you know, whether or not it's really just up to, can you craft Titanics? If you can, then deprioritize Conquerors in the long run so you can focus on getting some of this other stuff. However, do know that eventually you are going to want to use Conquerors, but if you craft Titanics, that's going to allow you, in the meantime, to focus on other gearing opportunities. Scaled Sand Reaver leggings, these are from AQ 20. They're all right, or no, they're from AQ 40. I mean, they're okay, guys. 10 intellect, 23 stamina, 62 attack power, 2% crit, but they're male. And when you can craft yourself a BOE from work you can do outside the raid, I mean, I really wouldn't ever wear these, but if you are a warrior on a budget with time and money, these are a good choice. Moving to the boots. So, chromatic boots, still on top. They reign, I believe, until the end of the game, if not very close to so. 20 strength, 20 agility. You guys know what these are by now. They're the straight hype beast, pink, loud boots. I have them. I love them. They're a really big piece, and they sim incredibly well, so there's a reason why they're so good. If you don't have them, they're not dropping for you. You can look at picking up the boots of the Fallen Hero. These are kind of like the off-white or off-brand version, but still pretty good. Just a little bit worse than chromatics. And then we've got the boots of the Vanguard as well from AQ 20, and these are going to be leather again. So I mean, come on. You're going to want to get one of the first two with priority on chromatic boots. Chromatic boots should be in a high prio for you if you have not gotten them yet. Even when you're in AQ, you're going to want to save DKP, save loot priority, whatever it is, for them. Moving on to the rings. So, Quick Strike rings, still reigning supreme. It's pretty easy to see why. The stats are really good. 5 strength, 8 stamina, 1% crit, plus 30 AP, and Ring of Karaji Fury is a new addition to this list. This is 12 stamina, 40 attack power, 1% crit, so almost like a more offensive version of the Master Dragon Slayer's ring. So pretty, decent ring. However, what you'll find with the rings is that all of these rings in the top, 6 or so, going all the way down to Don Julio's, personally, for me, they all sim within 1 to 3 DPS. There's not massive differences with world buffs. When you don't have world buffs, you need to sim it for yourself, but quick strike range comes far ahead of the others, and I would imagine Karaji Fury does as well. So you need to sim those things for yourself, but personally, on an average raid night with fully buffed and getting in successfully, all these rings are very close to each other. That's just for me. Sim it for yourself. All I'm saying is that, if Ring of Karaji Fury drops and, you have quick strike ring and Master Dragon Slayer's ring, and if you bid on it and you currently have, DKP, the plurality of DKP, you could get the next item you want. I personally would hold off for Gauntlets of Annihilation. I wouldn't spend it on Ring of Karaji Fury, but that's me. You might be different. Let's look at the trinkets. Diamond Flask still on top. I mean, come on, guys. This is kind of crazy that a level 48 quest, 52 quest item is this good, but it's part of your rotation. It's just amazing. So get it. And the great thing about the Diamond Flask too is that it's at the top of your trinket prio list, and you go get it from a quest. It's great. So that's cool. Drakefang Talisman coming in second. We all know DFT. Why this comes in at second is because it sims very well when you're fully world buff, just because what it's going to do for your crit cap. Also, when you have Diamond Flask, you can't use Diamond Flask in something like Gabbar or Earthstrike at the same time. You need to either use one or the other, or the fight needs to be long enough to where you can pop Diamond Flask, get the full 60 seconds, and then pop the other one. When a fight is that long that it allows you to pop both of those trinkets, you actually will find that static trinkets like Blackhand's Breath, Drakefang Talisman, Hodge sim better than even those unused trinkets, even though the attack power that they give is so awesome. Just because of how long the fight is, and that there's diminishing returns of those unused AP trinkets as fight length goes on. So DFT, if you haven't picked it up, I'm still going for this personally. Is really, really good to pick up. So go ahead and go for that. Moving down, Earthstrike. Earthstrike's really cool. Exalted Cenarian Circle, and increases your melee AP by 280. And what this is going to allow you to do is you're going to be able to absolutely flex in Molten Core. You're going to be able to absolutely flex in Molten Core if you have a guild that starts killing Lucifron in like 30 seconds. If you pop this like right at the beginning of the fight, and pop Death Wish and pop Wreck, you're going to do so much damage. It's going to be ridiculous. So Earthstrike's going to be awesome. However, will it be a BIS trinket that you use on progression AQ fights? I don't know. We're going to have to see how quickly we kill these bosses to figure this out. But 280 AP is a lot, but it's only for 20 seconds. So you're going to need that you're going to have to save that for XQ phase. Depending on how long the fight is, you'd probably be better off using DFT, maybe even Hodge, but we'll see. So moving to the next, Gabbar. Gabbar is a really great trinket, increases AP by 65, and an additional 65 every 2 seconds. It lasts for 20 seconds. And Gabbar is cool, and it's on the surface seems amazing. However, it is going to share that unused trinket CD with Diamond Flask. And Gabbar, the way that the trinket 8 proc works is that it increases your attack power, and then it goes up for 20 seconds, and then the effect vanishes. So at the end of this 20 seconds, you're actually getting a lot of attack power from Gabbar. However, when we get technical about when we want to pop this, it's going to be tricky, and there's going to need to be more theory crafting as to when exactly you would pop this. Whether you pop at 40% and you want it to hit its peak at the middle of your execute phase, or whether or not you want to pop it at the beginning of your execute phase so that you gradually increase all of your executes, or whether or not you need to pop it right before execute phase and then pop Death Wish and Wreck so that you have all of them at their peak at the same time. I personally don't know. Fight Club will find it out. Don't worry. Just need to give them time. So keep an eye on Gabbar. You're definitely going to want it. However, I think it's pretty goddamn rare. 5% drop rate off of Oro, so going to be a fight for that. A lot of classes want that. We're seeing Hodge and Blackhand's Breath still. We know and love those two. I currently use both of them. and Badge of the Swarm Guard. Now, Badge of the Swarm Guard is an interesting trinket because it's either going to be great for you or not good for you, depending on how sweaty your guild is. Badge of the Swarm Guard gives a chance on melee and range attack to apply an armor pen effect on you for 30 seconds, lowering the target's physical armor by 200 to your own attacks, your own, not the guild's. This armor penetration effect can be applied up to 6 times, 3-minute cooldown. So this is going to be awesome for you if your guild doesn't use Annihilator, doesn't use exposed armor, that doesn't have rogues do improved exposed armor. If you're a guild that doesn't do any armor pen effects other than Sunder, then this is going to be really, really big trinket for you, arguably better than some of the others. However, if your guild does use Annihilators, if your guild does use running improved exposed armor build with one of the rogues, you're going to find that this is going to not be as good as compared to the other trinkets. So just be cognizant of those things, and it's also extremely rare, guys. 4% drop off Battle Guard Satura. So good luck getting it. As of the trinkets, let's move on to what matters most. Enough with that boring stuff. Let's talk about weapons. Weapons. Let's kill things. We're going to start with humans. We're going to start with Alliance, and we'll go to the Horde. So humans will find that one recent change to the BIS list is that Infurian Demolisher is actually above CTS now. And we're going to find that CTS is actually above Ancient Karaji Ripper and a lot of the other weapons from AQ. So that's good and bad for some people. I have CTS, so that's good for me because I can prioritize other things. I'm not going to get Infurian Demolisher because my guild does not do world bosses, and CTS is going to be my bread and butter until Nax probably, which I'm fine with. I love that sword. However, Infurian Demolisher is our BIS. So Infurian Demolisher is our BIS, and we'll see here, drops from Lord Kazakh, and has a chance on hit to increase your attack speed by 20% for 10 seconds. I mean, it procs a lot. It's slow. It's a thick weapon, and it's got good damage. So it's a really good weapon, guys, but how realistic that is for you to get, very few of us actually kill world bosses on a regular basis. So it might be unrealistic for you. Next, we have CTS coming in second, and we're going to see that, CTS drops from Chromag, really, really good sword, 14 strength, 14 agility, 7 stamina, big D sword, guys, and it should be self-explanatory why this is so good for humans. Slow attack speed, great stats that scale with buffs, good all around. Next, we're going to go into the Ancient Karaji Ripper. The Ancient Karaji Ripper is drops off Vanquer's the Unyielding and has really good stats, 1% crit, 20 AP, really slow, so you've got that high top end damage coming in at 213, and you're getting some stamina as well. Looks either cool or dumb, I guess, according to how I think it looks kind of, I don't know. I don't think it looks cooler than CTS, but it's still kind of cool. However, look at the drop chance, guys, 2%. How many of these are we really going to see? Probably not a ton, and it's not as good as CTS. So, spend DKP accordingly. I wouldn't hold out for AQR because you're probably not going to see a lot. Coming up fourth, we've got the Blessed Karaji Warhammer, and it's a great weapon. It's a mace, so you're going to get that natural weapon skill if you're a human. You're going to get 10 strength, 12 stamina, but guys, this is a weapon for druids. Let's be real here. 280 attack power in Cat, Bear, and Dire Bear forms, plus 8 defense. Your guild, unless your guild is just the sweatiest guild ever that just sends you Uber Eats to the warriors each raid just to make sure that they're not hungry, and gives them White Claw on tap. If your guild's gonna give this to you over a feral, then send that feral whisper and say you're sorry, or just try and make them feel better. Let's be real, this is going to go to feral druids first, and then this actually is from an item that other classes use to craft items as well. So if you were to outspend those other classes to get this, you're insane. But it's an option, guys. It's there. I don't want to talk down on this weapon too much. I'm just saying that don't spend DKP to get this when you need to wait for some of these other items. Don't get impatient and do that. Only take this item if it's going to get DE'd. Then take it and use it, but don't be super proud of it. Just kidding. Be proud of it, but don't be crazy. So next on our main hands, we've got something called the Sand Polish Hammer. This is actually from AQ 20, and 9 stamina, 1% crit, 20 AP. This is something you can grind out for yourself in AQ 20, and look to try and get it twice a week. So this is a good catch-up weapon, sort of like the ZG swords were in ZG, worth looking at. But still, worse than M3 and CTS and AQR, obviously. Next, we've got Brutality Blade, Viscag, Spine Shatter. You guys know those. Brutality Blade, one change that got made to the main hands is that Brutality Blade actually is above Viscag now in terms of main hand DPS. And why is that? Well, Brutality Blade is slow as well and has stats that scale. And if we look at Viscag, guys, no stats that scale and just a proc for 240 damage that doesn't proc that often. So Brutality Blade comes up on top there. So moving into so those are the weapons. You're gonna want to put Crusader on them, obviously. Now offhand is where things get a little bit. So in the offhand, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. So the Anna Bootstaff, I don't know how you say it. The Warhammer. I'm just gonna call it the Warhammer. I don't know how to pronounce that. The Warhammer drops off trash in AQ, actually. It has a 1% drop chance off of a few different trash mobs, and what I love about that is if it's anything like how Doom's Edge has been for my guild, we're going to get like 20 of these, so I'm super pumped for this. Looking at the screenshot, pretty cool looking, in my opinion. Got a little Alliance Eagle or something on there, so I like it. +4 maces, so it's going to bump your natural mace skill as a human up to 209. If you could dual wield this with Infuriating Demolisher, oof, that's going to be a good combo. But even better if you have to use it in your offhand, you're still going to be getting that plus weapon skill, which is going to negate some of that glancing blow damage. So really great. 32 attack power, 7 stamina, drops off trash, guys. 1.8 speed, sits in your offhand, really good with rage gen. All around great weapon. So we'll see how many we actually get. Maladath is another sort of surprise here is that Maladath has taken second place to the Warhammer, and I think it's easy to see why. The Warhammer is just really good all around, and Maladath is way cooler looking. It's only a couple DPS worse. However, it's much more rare. At least to my guild, we haven't seen one Maladath in clearing BWL and reset since the start of BWL. So how many of these you'll actually see, how many of these can you actually get? Maybe it gets better as you keep killing BWL with AQ out, but definitely something you want to upgrade your Brutality Blade or whatever you have in your offhand, but it is going second place to the Warhammer now. In third, we've got AQR. We looked at that in the main hand, and we've looked at all the rest of these in the main hand. So really, when it comes to what's our BIS DPS human dual wield setup, it's Infuriating Demolisher and Anabushi Warhammer. Or CTS and Anabushi, and CTS and the Warhammer or Maladath, or AQR are going to be your three big ones. So weapons actually are going to be interesting to see how many Warhammers we get and how often that drops on Alliance. Okay, so for Horde dual wield, for Orc dual wield, we're actually getting a new BIS main hand weapon that is the Blessed Karaji War Axe. Really good axe here, 2.6 speed, 10 intellect, 9 stamina, 1% crit, 14 attack power. It looks kind of cool. And this is actually a quest turn-in item that you're going to use you're going to get a specific piece that dropped from a boss in AQ. I'm going to make a video that explains this, but this is going to be something that drops fairly often in terms of dropping the piece that you need to turn in alongside some other materials. So how easy this is to get for you is going to depend on how many people need that specific item. However, at least you're not relying on something like an AQR that only has a 2% drop rate. So I think you'll actually see a good amount of people be able to get these, and that's awesome because it's your BIS main hand. Deathbringer is still coming in second. Deathbringer is just like kind of a mainstay here, and that's just because of how freaking slow it is. It's just so thick. It hits so hard. I don't know how great the chance on hit is. I don't think it's that great. However, it is still your secondary BIS weapon. Third, Cruel, Edge of Chaos from Neff, still a really, really good main hand weapon. I love the look of this weapon. I think it's so cool. And we're getting 36 AP with that as well. So really good weapon, guys. Definitely worth still going for and still hoping for each week in BWL. And then next in our main hand, we've got Doom's Edge. Doom's Edge drops off trash in BWL. Also looks really dope. Getting 9 strength, 16 agility, 7 stamina with these. So good weapon. And then next on our prior list, we've got the Sickle of Unyielding Strength. This is an axe. Looks more like a fist weapon to me, but it's an axe. And 15 strength, 6 agility, 9 stamina. So good weapons. If we look at our dual wield offhand now, Cruel is secondary with Doom's Edge coming in first. So a BIS Orc dual wield is going to be Blessed Karaji War Axe. And if you're two-hand on Orc, you're gonna want Dark Edge of Insanity. That's our new two-hand piece that's coming into the fold. Looks really cool. I'm pretty sure that eye moves. Very high top end damage, 364, 35 strength, 19 agility, 25 stamina, and some cool PvP stuff to flex on the alliance with as you're fighting outside the instance. So really cool. Drake Talon Cleaver and Untamed Blade, those are new changes as well. So one thing I haven't covered yet are the ranged weapons. This is Larvae of the Great Worm, is our new BIS rifle. I don't know whether or not hunters use this. I don't think they do because it seems a little fast. I'm not sure though. But 1 crit, 18 AP is going to be better than strikers for you, so worth picking up if you can. Next, you have the crossbow of Eminent Doom. 1 hit, 5 strength, 7 agility, 5 stamina. I'm under the assumption, I haven't simmed it myself, I'm not going to right now, that I will soon though, that these are really close to each other in terms of stats and how much damage they add to you. So I wouldn't spend a ton of DKP on these items. Definitely try and pick them up when you can though. So that's the BIS list if you're a human or an orc. If you're a troll, if you're a gnome, if you're what they call the meme races, then this is your BIS list here if you have Edge Masters. Same gear, however, you're going to want CTS in your main hand, and you're going to want the Blessed Karaji Pugio in your offhand. And the Blessed Karaji Pugio is something that is another turn-in type of reward, so you're going to use them like an item is going to drop from one of the bosses that drops relatively often, but lots of classes are going to need it to turn in for their specific weapon. This is one of them. Your Dagger Rogues are going to be going after these. 1% crit, 18 AP, 1 hit, 1.7 speed in your offhand. It's easy to see why it's so good when you have edgies. However, the issue with the off races when you don't have the native weapon skill is that you have to use Edge Masters to maintain sort of your competitiveness, and you can't use Gauntlets of Annihilation. And that's when 2 warriors, one that's a gnome with Edge Masters and one that's a human, all BIS, if I were to run, if you were to get this BIS list as a human, then get this BIS list as a gnome with Edge Masters, you're going to see this one sim quite higher than the other just because of Gauntlets of Annihilation, which is crazy. But yeah, it is what it is. If we look at, so let's say you are, that's the edgies. If you are a dagger warrior, you're using daggers, well, you're going to look to dual wield 2 Blessed Karaji Pugios, and you're going to have those Age Core Leather Gloves in your hands. This sheet right here, which again is linked below, has everything you need to look at what you need to go for. This is me going through it and giving you my commentary. You may have different opinions. I'd love to hear them below on any of the gear that you're going for or not going for based off what I've said. But this list is the best place for you to start as you start to think of AQ, start to think of AQ 20 and what you want to go for. Come here before you go anywhere else. Don't go to Wowhead. Don't go to Icy Veins. Those sites have good intentions, but the way they do it is not scientific. There's no math. There's no sims behind it. This is where you get that kind of stuff, and here's the list for you. I've gone through it, giving you my commentary on the gear. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you're as excited as me to get into AQ and just to start doing something new in Classic WoW. I'm super pumped. I can't wait. I'm hoping that those Warhammers drop like candy, but whether or not they do or they don't, I'm just excited to keep on raiding and keep on going. So that said, everyone, that's the video. This is the BIS list. Guide to come on how to get these items, where they drop from, but as for right now, I think that's it. Hope you guys are having a wonderful time. Please remember to like and subscribe. Drop a comment down below with what you're going for with AQ, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.